Hey guys, it's Rachel at from Moments to Milestones, and I'm here today with our new techniques class. And this techniques class is featuring the Waffle Flower Postage Collage Christmas stencil, and kind of they have a whole line of products featuring their postage collage. There's a die, and there's lots and lots of stencils. So today, in your kits, when you purchase a kit, you're going to get the Christmas stencil. We are also going to use the Postage Collage coloring stencil. So if you don't have that, you may have to improvise on card number 2. But these are the 2 cards that we're going to create using these products. And like I said, so if you get a kit, there are no written instructions, just this video. And down here I kind of list the supplies additionally that you'll need in addition to what comes in your kit. So what comes in your kit? So if I open it up, you are going to get that Christmas stencil. So you're going to get the stencil. There's 4 stencils there. You're going to get 1. These are cut with a die. So you're going to get 1 to practice on, and then 2 card kits. So you get another set in each card kit. And so like I said, in order to color those blocks blue, you could certainly mask them off and do it that way. You could measure and cut some blue paper. We'll talk about that when we get to it. But if you want to do it just like I am, you're also going to need the Postage Collage coloring stencil, and it does the blocks. And you're also going to need this Postage Collage stamp set, and it has the different 30 cents and those different elements that we added. So maybe you have something similar postage-wise that you could use, but you'll need those things. Let me see what else I have listed. Pouncers, or the things we are going to use today are Picket Fence Studios pouncers. And so they look like this. This is the normal size. You can get a rainbow kit of them. I think there is 12 in a kit. 9. Okay, there's 9 in a kit. They also have the pint-sized ones. So there's a little bit smaller, which works great for these little stencils that we're doing today. And then the other thing I have listed, or the Maker Session Dauber Wand. So we carry these in stores. There's lots of different colors you can get on the barrel, and they come with these little sponge daubers that are interchangeable. You can, if you get your fingernail in there, you can pull them out and put different colors on there. So those are even smaller than this one. So all nice things. Obviously we're using stencils. If you don't have these tools and you want to try blending brushes, those will absolutely work for what we're doing today. What else? Inks is what you're going to need. So today we use Distress, but any inks will do. Anything you like to use to stencil with. So these are the Distress inks I use. So I'll hold those up there so you can grab those if you have them. We need Barn Door, dried marigold, mustard seed, peeled paint, forest moss, tumbled glass, walnut stain, and black soot. And then you'll want some kind of black ink. Today we're going to use the Hero Arts Intensified Black. That's how we're going to stamp these different elements on our postage stamps. And obviously you'll need like a stamp block or stamp positioning tool to do that. And then the last thing I recommend, also not necessary, you can certainly tape your projects down to whatever and however you like to hold your stencils in place. Today I'm going to use this Waffle Flower grip mat. This is an 8.5 by 5.5, I believe. And so it's like a big, it's made out of polymer. I'm going to pull off one of the grid sheets. So then this is sticky, and your paper will stick to it and your stencils, and it makes it great. Now, I could completely pull this off on both sides and stick it down to my glass mat, but I'm not going to do that today. I think I'll be good, so I can still move it around this way. So those are the things you're going to need to get started, and we are going to jump in. I'm going to show you a few examples just so you get an idea of with this stencil. This is the color combo that I just gave you that we're going to create in class. But here is the same stencil in different colors. And so I went through and just made some different samples so you can see how different it can look. And then once you cut these out, you can use it as a whole panel. You can cut the stamps out and use them individually. So it's really fun to just get your inks out and play with it. So that's what we're going to do. So let's start. You've got two kits. We're going to grab the one with the black. And you're just going to reach in there. Or you should have one singular, where is it? You have one of these floating around too. So you can grab this one, and we're going to practice on it. That way if you don't like, or you're new to stenciling and you want to do it again for your card, you can. So I did give you an extra one. But either way, use the extra one or the one from your kit. And we're going to stick this down. We have this long skinny one is on the right side. So I'm going to stick this down to my grip mat. And then you're going to need your Christmas stencil set, which this is a new one. I don't want that one. Okay. So I'm going to get my stencils out. So here is your Postage Collage stencil set. There's 4 stencils, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but at the top they are labeled, so that's how you know you're looking at them the right way. You can see it says Postage Collage Christmas stencil. It has the SKU number, and then it says 1 of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, and 4 of 4. So we're going to want the 1. And there are, I don't know if you can see when I lay it down, just because mine is used, you can kind of see those lines. And there is also a line for an A2 size card, which we don't have. I already cut them out for you. But you could line it up that way. Or you can line up those little lines inside the stitching of your postage stamps, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get them lined up in there. And then I'm going to press my stencil down. That's what's great about the stamp mat, is it's going to hold my paper and my stencil in place. And then the other tool I forgot to tell you is that you're going to want some masking paper or post-it notes. So I have some post-it notes here, because each one is its own scene that we're going to kind of want to mask some areas off. And I get out my sample so we have something to look at. So here's what we're trying to create. So we are going to start with green. We have a peeled paint and a forest moss, a light green and a dark green. I'm going to start with the light green, which is the peeled paint. And I want to do everything that I want green. So I want these are holly leaves. I want the 3 trees green. I'm going to cut this one in half maybe, or let me see what else. Yeah. And I want this tree, but not the house. I'm going to use one more because I just want one of them to be green. So I'm also going to mask off that circle there. So now I have the 4 things I want to be green. And I'm going to use one of my pouncers and the peeled paint. And pouncing makes this really go easy. You don't ever go side to side or swirl or twist, because you don't want to break it. But you're just going to pounce just like it says. So I'm just going to get the ink and just pounce on there, and you get great coverage right away. And I'm going to do trees. Do that ornament and this little tree down here. Alright, so I'm happy with that. Now, before I go ahead and remove my post-it notes, I've got an old rag here, and I'm going to wipe off the ink because I don't want it to transfer when I do another color. I'm going to wipe off the ink. And now I can pull up my post-it notes. And we've got the green. So let's move to red. And I'm going to I'll start with, I want the round ornament red. And I want the middle panel here with the poinsettias to be red. So now we're going to use barn door. Get out my pouncer for this. And I'll start here. I'm just going to pounce. And then I'll do this little ornament. And so the lighter you go, this is more of a pink layer. I'm not going to go real dark. Now I want to be a little bit darker on the poinsettias. Okay. So I'm going to wipe that off. All right. And then I also am going to do that little house, and I want it to be pink. So I'm just going to go, I'm not even going to put any extra ink. I'm just going to go real light. That's good. All right. So the only thing we have left is our reindeer. So now I'm going to put down the Post-its, and I'm just going to expose the reindeer. Now this reindeer is actually orange. We're going to use dried marigold. It's a light orange, and we're not going to go real heavy. So just real light. Probably just going to use what's on my pouncer. Okay, and like with distress inks, if you use them before, you know that they dry back a little. So, all right. So that is it for stencil 1. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it off. We'll clean them all at the end. Since I'm done with that one, I'm going to pull it off and set it to the side. So there it is. And now we're going to grab stencil 2. So 2 of 4, and we are going to match it up. So you can use the stitching lines again, or like here, this is masking off the tree in the house or the deer. You want to line those up the best that you can. And I might need to be right on top of it. Let me press that down and make sure. That looks great. And then the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little piece of Post-it tape here. This is like a rosy cheek for your deer, but I don't really want that. So I'm going to cover up that circle. You could certainly use it if you want to, but I'm just going to do the background and leave his cheeks normal. So I'm going to cover that up. That's optional. And now I'm going to pick a color and go for it. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with red because there's a lot of red on this one. So I'm going to tape off my trees, the deer. So all I have exposed are the 2 poinsettias. So I'll get out my red again and the barn door. You can see what I'm doing. I don't really have it in. There we go. And I want these to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to have them look a little more pinky. And then these I'm going to go in heavier like I did before. All right. Let me wipe that away. I think there's one more spot here. We need to get this this other ornament. So I don't want the green ornament. And then on the top there's like little ribbon tails there. I have mine yellow on my I think I'm going to go ahead and leave them red. So I'm just going to expose the red and put a nice dark layer on that. Okay. the red is done. So let's move on to the green. We're going to put this other layer on our trees. So let's mask off everything else. And I'm also going, well, I'll come back because I can't really get to that right now. So we'll mask this off. We'll just do the green. And this time I'm going to use a darker green. You could still use the peeled paint and then put a layer of the peeled paint and it's going to be darker just like we did on the red. But I'm going to go for even darker and use the forest moss. And once you use these pouncers for a little bit, they get nice and inky. And you don't have to load them up so much. And you can mix colors just like a blending brush in and out. And now I'm going to tape off and do the dark green, or do the green ornament. So I don't think I'm going to need ink on that one. We'll see. Great. So the two areas we have not touched yet is the background where our tree and house are and where our deer is. So let's start with the tree and house. And I'm going to go back to that orange. And I'm going to say here, I'm going to turn my Post-it note to a cleaner edge. I don't want a dark color mixing in with my orange just in case the pouncer would try to pick it up. So real light. And it almost looks like I didn't put anything down, but that's going to be it for me. It'll be more of a yellowy sky, like a sunset. And then I'm going to do that same thing where our deer is at. So, just a touch. That's good. I don't want to go too dark because my deer is also orange, so I don't want it to all be the same color. So very faint. And now I have stenciled everything on stencil number 2. So I'm going to pull that up. And there he is. And I probably went a little darker than I wanted to, but that's all right. Kind of looks like he's glowing there in the sun. So now we need to move on to stencil number 3. So we're going to line that up again. Now you want to line up the deer, the tree stump, and that's kind of your points of reference. And sometimes it isn't perfect. So tree stump, deer, and the house on the roof. You want to make sure that all matches up. Right. All right. So I am going to show you the daubers. These are really nice when you have small areas. Like right here, maybe I don't even have to mask it off. I'm going to grab a walnut stain, and I want the stump and the door and everything to be brown. So this is really nice. I don't have to get up my Post-it notes or anything. I can just go right to it. We're good with that. So those are really nice. And like I said, they come... you could have one for every color, just like the pouncers or a blending brush. Do the same thing. We're going to use yellow on the stars. Oh, I used a black one. That kind of stinks. I grabbed the wrong dauber. This is the yellow one. So I'm going to have an ugly sparkle. That's okay. This is supposed to be our practice one, right? Okay. I also use the yellow on these dots. So if you have something smaller and you don't want to mess with the Post-it notes or masking constantly, this little dauber is nice because you don't have to worry about it getting onto the other panels. Okay. And then, let's see, I also used the yellow. Actually, I think I used gold on the snow falling. So let's get that brown back out and just do there's a tree stump, but there's also little snowflakes right next to it. So I'm going to use the brown on the stump. So I used the brown on the stump, wiped away the excess. All right. So now we have hit these 4. No, I have not completely. I'm going to get some more of that Post-it tape. And I'm going to cover up that stump. Just need a little piece so I can get the little snowflakes. And we're going to use, I'm going to cover these up because we're going big here. And I'm going to do orange, the dried marigold on that. We have the poinsettias, so we're going to do the red on those. And I want to go heavy here. Heavier than I did the first layer. Perfect. That up. Okay. And then we have our little reindeer here. So I want his collar to be red. So I'm just going to mask that off a little bit and go in with my small dauber wand and put the red on. And then for he's got antlers and eyes. I just did it all in the same color. I'm going to use brown, that walnut stain, which is here. And I'm going to use it all. Now, if you want him to have a red nose, you would mask off the nose and do that in red. But I'm using brown, or you could use black. Use brown. His nose and his eyes. And antlers. All right, so we have done all of the layers for stencil number 3. And now you can really see those images coming together. It's so pretty. We are ready for the final stencil, number 4. So we're going to match that up. We've got windows on the trees. I find right here you really want to match up. You want to make sure the star is on top of your tree. The leaves. All right, so that looks good. And now we're going to come in and finish. So I used yellow again on these little, they're kind of like little flowers in between these poinsettias. So we're going to use them here. We're going to use it on the star and over the ornaments on the tree. I know it doesn't seem like they would show up, but they will. Or you could skip it. I didn't put them on this particular sample, but we did it in class. And then I'm also going to do polka dots around the poinsettia. And then right in the centers of the poinsettia, I'm going to put orange. So they're a little bit more golden. So I'll find that dried marigold. And I'm going to get out my little mini orange dauber. I'm just going to use it with my finger. And just go right in the centers, because I want them a little bit darker. So that's an easy way to use that. Alright, so let's get the yellow off. Perfect. And now we have the windows in our little house, and I'm going to go back in with the red. We made it more pinky. We didn't go real dark red. I'll go a little bit darker on the windows and just make them dark red. You could try yellow if you want, but it's probably just going to turn to orange because you're putting yellow on red. What else do we have? So we have the details on the ornaments, and we have the strings. So for the details, I'm doing tone on tone. So I'm going to go in with the red. And with these little daubers, you do not have to mask off, which is kind of nice. And then I'm going to do dark green. You could do either one. Get out my green. And I need to mask off the topper because I made him brown. So I'm just going to do the details. And then we're going to use walnut stain for like the cords and the toppers of the ornaments. So I just stay away from the center would be good. Great. All right. And then finally we have our reindeer. So he has some little flecks. I'm going to see if I can find an example. I didn't use it on this particular one. Like this one I didn't put his collar on. Here you can see that I used it. So that's what it looks like if you want to do it. And I found that both times that I used it, I did tone on tone. So it's entirely up to you. I'm going to skip it on this one and just put the green up at the top for his, I don't know if there's supposed to be leaves in his antlers. I did red and green on this example. I was thinking lights, but it's up to you, whatever you want to try. I'm going to do green. Going to do green for both. And we have done everything on that stencil as well. And now our stamped or our stenciled stamps are complete. So how cute is that? So I'm going to get my little pokey tool real quick, and some of these didn't come out and they got die cut, so make sure all those are out. Alright, so that image is done. We're going to go in and stamp on them. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. It's Distress ink, so before I do anything else, I'm going to let it sit and dry. And while we do that, we're going to clean up our stencils. So I have just rubbing alcohol in this container I got at the Dollar Tree, and I like to just give it a couple squirts, and that gets everything off. We'll do each one. Oops, you got to be careful of that deer. It's the only thing that likes to rip or bend off. You got to be gentle. Alright, so our stencils are all clean. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can have a lot of fun just getting out 4 or 5 colors. Now that you have a sample to go by and you say, okay, I'm going to make a card that has blue poinsettias, a green tree. I want my deer to be brown. And then you just pull those colors, and now that you just kind of get to know your stencil and play around with it. And that's what I did on all of these samples. And having tools that you can get in little spots makes it nice and easy and quick. You just get your inks out and go for it. So you can, any color combo. And then all these can be die cut with a stamp and all kinds of card possibilities you can do there. So we are done with this stencil, unless you are not happy with what you created and you want to recreate it, or like I said, make yourself some other samples. But we are done. Now I gotta find what I did with mine. I think I put it in this whole pile. Here it is. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get, this is the stamp set, and I have actually already pulled a bunch of these. We had them in class. They were already on blocks. So I'm going to bring those over and my black ink, and we're just going to stamp on there. So I have, this one says 30 cents. Put that up in the corner. Let's see, we got the squiggly marks. Put it right across there. I'm also going to have it coming off here and maybe here. Right. And it looks like I used that 30 cents over somewhere else, right here. We have, this says first class mail forever. I just put a bunch of them out so people could play with them. Put 50 cents. And then we have a 9-cent stamp. I didn't stamp that one great, but that's okay. And what else did we have? We had 15 cent down here. I don't have that one out, so I'm going to put this first class mail right down here. And another 50 cent on our deer. All right. You can certainly go, you know, as crazy as you want with all those. I'm good with that. So let me get out the rest of my kit. So this you can save for later to make, you know, to make another one, another sample. So you should have a white card base, a black card panel. So I'm going to put that on. And then this we just glued straight down, or if you want to pop it up on foam, you can. I think on my sample I might have used thin foam. It's up to you. Let's see, I forgot one. There we go. Put that in the center. And then you have your happy holidays from our home to yours. And I'm gonna pop this up. Just have that kind of down here in the corner. And that card's finished. All right, for the second card in your kits, I'm actually going to wash off my hands real quick because I have some spray hand sanitizer. I don't want to transfer color. Get a little inky. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this up. And you're going to have die cut pieces. So this time we have some die cuts we're going to put on the stamps, but we're going to color the stamps themselves. So this is where that coloring, the other stencil I listed on your supplies list, this Postage Collage coloring stencil comes into play. So this one has 2. So if you cut it out, you would have all these fun postage stamps and these different, it's kind of, you know, what's the word? Very versatile, just general. And then it does this like airmail stencil around the edge, which is what we are going to use. So I'm going to start with this panel that says wishing you a Christmas that is merry and bright. And I'm going to stick my panel on there. And I'm going to grab one of these. They also have words on them, so if you can read them, you know they're right side up. And I am going to, there are lines that should line up with your card, but if it's not perfect, then just center it. So if it's hanging off a little bit, make sure it's hanging off equally everywhere, so they're roughly the same size. So that looks good to me. And I'm going to take barn door on my big dauber. Oh, but first, before we do that, we need to mask up. I don't want that stuff in the center to be on my card. So we don't want those, so we will just mask those off. I have one more. Okay. And we're just going to go in and pounce around the edges. Okay, so I'm just gonna rub that off. And pull that stencil off. Perfect. And so this one, so some airmail, like when you see it, it is like red and blue, so you could certainly go for that option if you want. I'm just gonna try to stick with the red. I thought it looked like a candy cane, thought that was fun. So you're going to also need to block it off again. We don't want those blocks in there. And we're going to go do that second line of stripes. Good with that. Okay. So now we have our nice little airmail around that panel. So we're going to set that off to the side. And I am going to clean up my sticky mat. So you don't want to put the rubbing alcohol on that. Dry it up. So I'm just going to use a water-based baby wipe. Clean that up. And then we also need to clean off our stencils because we're going to reuse one of them. So now I'll get out my rubbing alcohol. Clean that up. You always want to rub the back too, because sometimes that tries to transfer over. All right. So what we are going to need now, you're going to need your grip mat again. And from your kit, you should have a stamp. And I'm going to put the tall skinny one over here to the right again, and then I'm going to line up and so you're going to line them up with the stitch marks again. So center that on there. There's a double line on the stencils on the inside. I don't know if you can see that or not, but once you start using them, they get kind of dirty in there, and then you can see it. The outside line you want to line up with the stitching, and that should center it well. And so now we're going to just color the block. So on this card, the background of each stamp is blue. So we're going to use tumbled glass and a pouncer. And we're just going to go over the whole surface. And I'm going real light, and it's going to be kind of splotchy, but we're kind of going for a watercolor effect. You can go as dark or as light as you want, but I'm not going real dark. And like I said, I am embracing the splotchiness. Once it dries, it won't look as splotchy, but it'll give you a watercolor look, which I really like. So I can peel that stencil off. And now we have colored stamps. I'm going to get rid of my sticky mat. I don't need that right now. My cover back on it. Okay. And we're going to let that dry a little bit because that is Distress ink. So we'll let that dry, and while we let that dry, we're going to put together our die cuts. So I didn't do any inking. You could if you wanted, but nice and simple. You have this die here, this light green, and it's going to have 3 yellow flowers. So we're going to glue those on. So we got those flowers on there. Let's try to line them up so I don't see a bunch of green. Alright, so there's the flowers. And then you have this scrap of yellow. We're going to trim that down and put it behind. Trim that down. And glue it on there. So you can see the yellow. Do that same thing for the other side. Okay, and let's see, that should be good. The rest of it we can build up on the card. So what I'm going to do, you can put it in your trimmer or you can use your scissors, but I'm going to trim off this long one and the little skinny rectangle one. So I'm just going to go right up the center and trim. And now you have these 2 stamps you could use for something else. I'm going to set those off to the side. I'm going to put foam on the back of that. Bring back in our panel and our card base. That should have been your kit. So let's put the panel down. cards open in the right way. We're going to put down that airmail panel. And now we'll peel off the backing of our stamps. Alright, so I have the two bigger ones at the bottom. The smaller one is kind of up on the top left corner. And we're just going to center that here. And now we're going to build up each item onto each stamp. So I'm looking for some foam. So I'm going to put like that. Is that going to be too big? Perfect. So this one's all by itself up here. Oh, I forgot to put the, that would have been easier before it was stamped on there. So let's see how we do. It'll be hard to stamp with the, that one did all right. This one's down here. It'll work. 50 cents up here, just kind of depends on where you put your foam. And then I have the 15-cent up here, which I didn't use, so I'm going to use the 9-cent instead. And it's a little crooked, but that's alright. Alright, so now this goes there. The two holly leaves are going to go here and here. Go. And then put the holly berries down. 1, 2, 3. Oops. And then down here we have this large flower and some of the greenery tucked in. So I just have one of these. I think I included both, but I'm just going to use one, and I'm going to I'm going to use the smallest one and trim off the long branches, or the long branch. And I'm going to tuck it behind and stick it to the foam. The same thing with that one. So they're both sticking to that foam. And then I'll put a little bit more glue on it. Tuck that on there, like so. Then we're going to finish with our pine cone, which I have popped up. This piece is going to kind of come like that, so I'm going to glue that one down first. And the pine cone. And then this piece kind of tucks behind the pine cone and then on top like so. And then that piece is going to go right there. And then I probably need a little bit of foam behind that flower. So let's do that. Maybe behind all of them. That'll keep it in place. Need those. You could certainly tuck this one behind there if you wanted. I don't know if I want to or not. I'm going to see what it looks like. It might be too big. Yeah, I think I will. Since you have it. Or if you toss it, it's fine too. Doesn't really need it. All right. And that finishes the second card. All right, well, thanks so much for watching. That does it for this techniques class. I hope you enjoy your Christmas stencil and you spend the time to really play around with it. I think you're going to really enjoy it and all the possibilities. Be a great way to make some quick and easy cards. You could certainly use each stamp individually and get lots of cards out of it. And like I said, check out Waffle Flower, what else they have to go along with their postage collage. It's great stuff. Lots of fun. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.